Hello, friends and family. I'm still David Michael Smingy. I am still a doctor, and Brita's still here, and I've got the usual kind of updates of how things have been going. Um, so, in last update, we had celebrated 5 years of well, not tumor-free, but just for like tumor survival, which is pretty remarkable to do 5 years with a brain tumor. In around September, Brita had another scan that had some questionable growth in it. And then in December, unfortunately, that fear was realized when there was additional growth of 2 spots of her tumor, kind of near the edges and near the center of her brain, where we had done surgery before, but we really can't go much deeper than that because it turns out a lot of stuff in your brain is important. So now the question is, what are we going to do about it? What does this mean? Kind of as a brief recap, so 2016, Brita has her tumor, has surgery. We do well for a year, move out of Memphis, and have Perrin, and then come to Dearborn, Detroit. And then after that, Brita, around 2019, has a recurrence of her tumor. And then throughout 2020, undergoes chemotherapy with PCV, which is kind of a chemotherapy from the 70s, but it is what it is. And she went through it very well, almost about a whole year if we think about it. And then finished that, and then responded very well to it. But unfortunately, like I said, now towards the end of 2021, has had a recurrence. So second recurrence, kind of third occurrence of the tumor. So what does that mean for Brita? Well, that means that we're going to start chemotherapy and radiation. For Brita's particular tumor, there's 2 types of chemotherapy that are offered. One is PCV that we've done. Then there's one called TMZ or Temodar, which is next. That is very fortunately a oral chemotherapy, so she'll be able to do the chemotherapy at home, kind of blood counts and white blood cell counts permitting, which I suspect she'll do well. Temodar is much better tolerated than the last chemo that she went through, so the hope is that she'll be okay. And then in terms of radiation, we kind of saved radiation for a recurrence of the tumor. Unfortunately, this is a bit sooner than I wanted. However, it's still relatively good timing in terms of the tumor growing. This is why we do surveillance scans. Essentially, the part of the tumor that's grown is gone from about 4 millimeters to 6 millimeters. And there's another spot that's about a centimeter. So very slow growing. Good news, bad news means we have time to kind of think about what we're going to do to deal with it. But the consequence of slow growing tumors is that they tend to be very hard to get rid of. So that's that. So in terms of next steps, Brita gets chemotherapy and radiation, 6 weeks of radiation, followed by who knows. Some people do Temodar essentially indefinitely. Some people do kind of bursts of it. People still generally have futures after Temodar. I'll be straight with you. I have absolutely no idea what Brita's life expectancy and time looks like. I don't think anybody on this side of eternity knows. Brita's in a very unique category in that brain tumors are rare, oligodendrogomas are rare among the brain tumors, and then Brita's case certainly getting more and more unique, as do pretty much everybody with brain tumors. So she's kind of hit that point. In terms of studies, obviously I read a ton. If there's one thing I've become an expert at, it's oligodendrogliomas. The hope would be, radiation does well coupled with Temodar. Those tend to pair pretty well with each other. Very optimistic studies would say 15, 18 years. Very pessimistic studies would probably say 3 to 4 years. So who knows? And I certainly hope that mRNA works and we find a treatment, for a lot more than, just doing vaccinations for COVID, but hopefully for other things as well. So sorry about that. Who knows? God only knows. Ways that you can help. There is going to be a kind of meal share thing, as well as some watching Perrin during radiation. We may need someone to drive Brita at some point here. I'm sure there'll be somewhere. And then in terms of other stuff, still praying for us. We need it. Nobody gets out of this alive. Even Jesus died. Whatever time we got, we just want to enjoy. And I hope that you are doing that as well with the people that you love and the family and friends you've got too. I think COVID has certainly challenged all of us in what we expect to be normal and what our priorities are, and certainly coupled with the brain tumor, it's kind of accentuated. And hoping 2 negatives times a negative makes a positive here with COVID and brain tumors. But It's certainly hard to pray that Brita does well with chemotherapy and radiation round 2. And I'll pray for my kid that he grows up knowing his mother. Still been the prayer since the beginning. And then pray for me that learn a lot from it, can sublimate it and do something useful with this. In terms of my work, I guess quick update there too. I'm no longer doing inpatient medicine. Kind of breaks my heart a little bit, but at the same time, it enables me to spend more time with Brita, which obviously is more important. In terms of kind of outpatient stuff, God has really worked in that there's a really amazing grant between a Christian organization in Detroit that is partnered with St. Mary's, my hospital, to create a community behavioral health center. So essentially we have an opportunity to go and be a primary care doctor in a very underserved population, mostly substance use disorders, runaway youth, etc. And I'm very excited to be a part of it. In a lot of ways, God did all the work, essentially St. Mary's got this grant. Somebody did some work somewhere too. I think God was moving, whatever we want to think about it, but I'm just grateful that I'm just really excited for the opportunity. So I know folks have been praying for it, and just know that it sounds like every organization's certainly got problems in ways that they work, and things kind of go move slower than we want them to, but hopefully by the end of this calendar year, I'll be doing most of my outpatient time with residents in an underserved clinic with the hopes of building a track to just do underserved care long term. And that certainly has been a very long-term goal of mine to have, and I'm just excited to see it potentially happening. Yeah. It just kind of is what it is, isn't it? I thank you and me, and I'm grateful for all the folks that care about us and ask about how we're doing. I love all of you. Know that I pray for you, and I'm grateful that you guys are praying for us and caring for us and loving us. And I hope that you all go out and just keep loving other people, loving your friends, neighbors, friends, and even loving your enemies in ways too. But God help us all, and I hope that I'll continue to update you guys soon. I'll try and do something towards the middle end of radiation with how Brita's doing, and then we'll know in terms of how Brita's long-term outlook looks probably in about 4 months. But again, we'll probably live our lives every 4 months, just kind of wondering what the next scan will be. So grateful for all of you. Take care, and God bless you and keep you.